Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Nafsika Antypas. It was pretty good, right?
You pronounced it really well. Thank you.
So, we're going to get into your story. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. So, I appreciate you taking the time to come on my show, and we're going to get into your story. Do you want to explain to the people who you are and where you're from?
Yes, hi. I have Nafsika's Garden vegan cheese, but I started off with Plant-Based by Nafsika TV series I aired on A&E Network, and I was looking for some help for season 4, which is what brought me to this very strange individual that changed everything in my life.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. That's where I crossed paths with you. I saw a clip from the Dateline episode. You said your life started out in Canada. So what did you want to be when you grew up?
Actually, I always wanted to be on TV. I always wanted to help make the world a better place. And when I went vegan a few years ago, in 2013, I wanted to help people go vegan. So I decided to make a TV show. And with my father's company, Pilaros, it's a family business. We have olive oil and things like that. I was always kind of, I had a little bit of background in the TV experience, like helping with TV segments, food segments, things like that. So I had a little bit of a TV background there, and I studied it in college, TV productions and journalism and everything. And so I had that, but I wanted to really start my own TV series. So I just kind of like found a producer in New York, and within 6 months, we were airing on the A&E network to 70 million households across America.
Wow.
So it was pretty good because it was also the first vegan lifestyle series on mainstream television. So that was really cool at the time in 2016 when veganism was a little bit more not as popular as it is now or as it's getting now. And so while I was doing that, I did 3 seasons, and I wanted to start working on the 4th season, and I started looking for some help. And I went to Upwork, where I was looking for a freelancer or someone to help me promote season 4. Because I was up to that point, I was doing everything on my own, writing, producing. I had my co-producers, but it was a lot of work. And I had just started with my Nafsika's Garden vegan cheese brand that I launched across Canada. It was the first vegan cheese to be at Walmart in Canada. So I was looking to launch in the US. So all that was going on at the same time. So when I found this guy, his name was Nicholas Brown, and he had a really great rating. He said he was a Harvard graduate. He had experience in PR, marketing, and even TV. And he was an international lawyer. So I was like, oh, he's got everything. This is like perfect package. So I had a call with him, and I hired him on the spot. And we started working together right away.
But you
He didn't do
didn't know that he slipped through the cracks, right? As they would
I
say.
didn't know that he was wanted, and he was a wanted criminal in the US, and that he had assaulted other women. Thank God I never met him face to face. It was always because I was in Montreal. And thank God for COVID, because he couldn't travel from the UK. He was living in the UK at the time. He couldn't travel to Canada or the US where I was filming. So thank God for that, because I never actually had the pleasure of meeting him face to face. So I was protected that way. But it sucks because, I had him, I gave him a mandate. I asked him to do certain work. It wasn't happening. So every month I was like, what's happening? Show me your work. And he was acting like he was working. He was really passionate about the project. He was like, oh, like,
Did he give you
actually,
a little bit of like for you to
uh,
keep dealing with him, right? Like,
yeah, well, here's the thing. He used a lot of tactics, which I've kind of picked up on after. But at first, the first thing was he was hospitalized. He was hospitalized. He was in, doctors. He sent me pictures of his back of the skull with like plugs on. By the way, he was always very careful not to send me pictures of his face. I only saw one picture, which he deleted after. So I knew what he looked like, and I could see from his hands 2 pictures that he had his hands. So I know what he looks like, and his face I remembered. But those pictures went he just removed them from the messages from Telegram, which, by the way, he wanted to start using Telegram because he thought it was more secure. So I
That's
think it's
one of the
because
things people need to watch out for. They try to
yeah,
direct you off an app that you're on and try to
yeah,
bring you to another app, right?
that's right. That's right. So we left from Upwork and we went over to, communicating on Telegram, a little bit of WhatsApp at the beginning, and then Telegram, and then phone calls. And just the excuses started, 1 month it was because it was 3.5 months I worked with him until I said that's it. But the only reason why I delayed so long is because, like I said, the excuses. First, he was in the hospital. Then his wife was in the hospital. Then his dogs were in the hospital. Then he got married and he wanted to go on a second honeymoon, a second marriage, I guess. I don't know. And all these things. So he knew I was like a good-hearted person. I'm compassionate. I'm not gonna, like, every time I would tell him, okay, so where's the work? He'd come up with, oh my God, I'm in the hospital now. His wife Miranda would call me. I know I know Nicholas is working really hard for you. He's
And
putting
is
everything
he
in this.
doing promotion for you? Like, what was he supposed to be doing for you?
He was supposed to help get me sponsors for season 4, and he said, and guests as well. He was name dropping here and there. He name dropped Gordon Ramsay, that he has a connection with him, and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that'd be cool to have him on the show. That was a lie. But it was just really because I was always, because it's my own project. I fully fund it. So my thing was I look for sponsors to help pay for the cost of the production costs and everything. So that's what I wanted him to work on while I was working on my vegan cheese brand. But then he started showing a lot of interest in the vegan cheese brand. So that's where kind of delayed things a little bit with because he switched mandates, but involuntarily. Like, I didn't want him to. I wanted him to stay with on working on the TV show. He got nowhere with that. I asked him for a pipeline. Show me what you got. Who you plan to target. Give me a list. Nothing. Oh, I want to work on this. Your cheese brand. Let's get it into UK. And it's true. I did want to launch in the UK, in Europe as well, which I ended up doing on my own a year later. But it really slowed me down because I had him deal with one of my distributors in the US, which kind of messed up my relationship a little bit with them. So my sales suffered that year, and it slowed me down, in general, for the cheese brand, and for the show, we never ended up doing a season 4 because I wasted a little bit of time with him, and then there was COVID. So 2019, August, the end of July 2019 is the last time my show aired on A&E. And then after that, that's when I met him in January. And it just, everything it was a big waste of time. So when I started talking to him, telling him, okay, show me your work, you said you're going to provide me this and that, where is your work? He would get aggressive a little bit on the phone and tell me, like, and act like he's almost crying. Like, I have poured my blood, sweat, and tears into this. I can't believe you think that I'm not working for you. So he would try to make me feel guilty. And to the point that I was just like, I can't even deal with this guy anymore. I don't even want to talk to him. Let me wait another 2 weeks. Because he wanted me to pay him every 2 weeks. Like, every time I had to pay him, that's when he would really come around and be like, oh, where's my money? Where's my money?
And he would never produce anything that he
wouldn't. No, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
So, and I was concerned after the first month, actually. After the first month is when I sent him an email, and I think the subject heading was my concerns, something to that effect, like, you're not doing your work, what's going on? And that's when he started pretending he's doing work by telling me, oh, I did this, I did that, but not actually showing me anything, just telling me things, So by the third month, I had enough of it. And I kept on delaying. Like, I'm like, oh, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong? Because here's the thing. Here's what he did. He made me so paranoid that he made me doubt myself. That's like the other big reason why this went on for so long. He made me doubt myself. He said, oh, no, I know you've been scammed before, because I did get scammed before, but $5,000, nothing crazy. You know,
Wait, what? 5,000? Nothing crazy. If I get
oh
scammed
yeah.
for $5,
Well,
if I get scammed for $5, that's a lot of money for me. Like I don't
yeah,
care. $1.
it's true. I
It's
know it's crazy. It is crazy. It is, but compared to this, I'm like, ah,
yeah, yeah.
because this is like, $30,000, and then and then more after that because I had to like
Wow,
do all this damage control, which cost me hundreds of $1,000s. So
wow.
anyways, but going back to that point, I had enough, and I told them I'm not paying you until you provide me your work. I'm not going to pay you anymore. And I had fully intended to completely terminate him, but I wanted to see what he would respond. Like I
His
thought he was gonna,
reaction. You wanted to
his
see.
reaction. I thought he was gonna say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You're
Here
totally
you
right.
go.
Here you
Here's all the
go.
work I did. You're like, okay, I was
I've been
wrong.
holding on to it, and here you go." No, he started with the threats, and then I'm like, "Oh, okay, I got me
What
a
was the
countdown."
first threat he said to you? What was the first one?
Oh, it's all in the. I've sent it to all the reporters and the FBI, but the first threat. He basically, I don't remember the exact first, but he basically said, if you don't pay me what you owe me, I'm going to, launch this smear campaign on you. And he showed me what he had planned and what he was using my money to do. So he created a website, which he was supposed to be creating on another website. But anyway, he created this website and it says Nafsika Antypas is a fraud. And it had my, my face there. It had my driver's license or my passport that looked like it looked like a mugshot, and just said some lies like her cheese is not really vegan, and she's a conner, not a conner, but he's a fraud. I'm a fraud, And he created these fake Twitter accounts where he was tweeting about me. And it's so funny because a lot of people were calling him out. They're like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean her cheese is not vegan?" Like what he would do is he would post my vegan cheese label, and say, "Look,
Yeah.
it's fake." And they were like, and a couple of people were like, "Okay, loser. Like, what are you saying?" And he would block them after. And I
Yeah.
messaged him. I'm like, I would ask them. They're like, no, this guy, he's a fraud, So I'm like, okay, good. Other people are seeing it too. So when he started with those texts that night, that very first night, telling me what he's going to do to me if I don't pay him, that's when I went on to the anti-fraud organizations. I started sending out reports, like filing a report. Unfortunately, they never got back to me. They told me if we think it's serious, we'll contact you, because I tried calling them, following up, and everything.
Yeah.
So that didn't work. But the next morning, he decided to track down my parents' house number and started calling them and harassing them and saying, "Your daughter owes me $40,000. I know he just came up with this number. And if she doesn't pay me, she's gonna, I'm gonna come after her, and I'm gonna come after you." Like he's talking about my father because he has his own business. And whatever. So they hung up, they blocked him. They said, "We're going to call the police if you keep harassing us," because they knew right
You
away.
didn't call law enforcement by this time. You haven't called yet.
As soon as he called my parents, so the very next morning, as soon as he called my parents, that's when I called the police. I called
Yeah,
them
it's
in
crossing the
Montreal.
line once you do things like that, and the parents, it's
Yes.
like, nah.
Yes, but unfortunately, they didn't do anything because they said, "Has he come to you? Has he approached you physically?" I go, "No." They said, "When he does, call us then, and we can arrest him on the spot if he comes to your door." I go, "Well, if he comes to me, he might end up killing me, raping me, assaulting me. I don't know. You want me to wait till I'm dead to call you? Like I'm trying to be,
Yeah.
like proactive
Prevent
here,
the situation. You don't want to
prevent
wait
the
until something
situation."
happens. Like,
Yeah, so that's why I think there's so many crimes and so many women go missing and killed, because they're not taken seriously. Like we know, like you can kind of tell this guy, there's something off about him. I don't feel safe. I don't know what he's capable of. I have kids. He knows where I live. So this is what I was trying to convey to them. And they said, "Well, you know what?" They said, "Call Dublin or the UK where he's residing." He was residing in Bristol in the UK. But
that's
he
where I'm
told
from,
me,
Bristol, Connecticut.
"Are you serious?" Oh,
Yeah,
Connecticut.
Connecticut. Yeah.
Ah,
It's named
Connecticut.
after Bristol, UK.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's where he lived, unfortunately. But before that, he was living, he said, in Dublin. He was from Dublin. He told me he was Irish. He told me he spoke with an English, like a British accent. So, so I called them. I called the local police there. They said, call Canada or call Ireland. So I called all three countries and got nowhere. Then I decided just to hire a private investigator in Dublin because he told me he's from there. So I go, I'm going to hire someone who's from there, find him, track him down, then bring him to the authorities, you know?
Did you know anything about him? Have you found out
Nothing.
any?
I knew nothing. This hadn't
Oh,
come out anywhere. Anywhere.
mhm.
Like there was no, I mean, I knew him as Nicholas Brown or Nicholas Knight Brown because he joined his last name with his wife. Um, so
Now, did
I,
he introduce his wife to you right
oh
away, or
yeah,
did he wait?
after 1 month, he said she wants to work with him and me. So I was speaking to her quite a few times actually, and she was so nice. She was kind. Um, but I think in the end, she's in on it. She knows everything,
Of course.
right? Yeah,
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
So at first, I was like, oh, maybe she's just spellbound or something. Like she's under his spell. But no, when I saw the interviews of her just looking at him and nodding when he was saying he's never stepped foot in America. He's doesn't have tattoos. All these lies. He's never been to Boston. I got an email from him. This is what I gave it to the authorities back then. Well, 2 years ago now, but I got an email. When he first called me, his very first call, he told me, I'm in Boston right now, just in case you see the number. I'm in Boston, but I'm going back to I think he was going back to Bristol. And he made a little joke. Oh, if you see this number from Boston, I'm here in a business. I'm going to go there. So I had his phone number, his Boston number, and which was linked to his email. And so when I saw that letter, that video of him saying he's never stepped foot on American soil, I was like, oh my God, he's lying. And then she's just sitting there nodding. So I'm like, well, she's in on it then. So yeah, but I found out who he is January of last year. January of last year. I had no idea. I all of a
Through the
sudden
private investigator, right?
No, he didn't find nothing. I paid him for nothing. He didn't find
What?
anything because he looked for Nicholas Brown. He couldn't find Nicholas Brown. I'm like, well, couldn't you freaking look for anything else, like a different alias or something? Like, I don't know. Anyway,
So
whatever.
he didn't find no one, but he still wanted to get paid, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
exactly.
yeah. No, it doesn't work like that.
So I
Not
got
over here.
conned again. I got conned trying to find the con. Anyway, so yeah, so I started getting all these calls out of us like all of a sudden in January of last year from the media, and they were finding me on social media, LinkedIn, emails, everything about how do you know Nicholas, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, is this Nicholas again? Is he trying to do this another scam? It's actually my colleague that saw it. She said, you're getting a bunch of emails to the company email. And I'm like, oh no, what is he doing now? I just assumed it was like another scam of his. But
Yeah.
it turned out, everybody he was found and he was arrested. So I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I'm like,
Yeah,
I'll do
but
any interview you want. Yes, I'll help you however I
yeah.
can. Let's get this guy.
Did the threats and things die down
Yeah.
after?
So, well,
Yeah.
I mean, I was very proactive. I probably could have saved my hundreds of thousands of dollars and just like did nothing and it would have gone away. But what I had to do, because I didn't know what he's capable of, I didn't know who he was, that he was a wanted criminal.
You're nervous
You know,
at this point,
yeah.
right?
So I hired a company to well, first of all, take down one of his sites. Another site I was able to take it down myself, actually by talking to the hosting company. I got this marketing company just to produce good content about me to drown out his bad. That's
Mhm.
basically the only thing I was able to do. So, we're talking about cheese, we're talking about the TV show, or like,
Yeah.
like we're talking about that stuff, just to get rid of his stuff so he can go down. Cause he basically because he's very computer savvy and he is
Yeah.
SEO savvy. So when you would Google my name, his article and his websites would come up first, Nafsika Antypas is a fraud. So I'm like, I got to get rid of that. So we started producing stuff to bring it all the way down the list.
Yeah.
So that was like, you know, that's the action that I took. Yeah.
So he's in his mind, he thinks you owe him all this money, and he's like, I'm just gonna destroy her because she won't
Yeah.
keep paying me for the stuff I'm not doing.
Well, yeah. You know what? Like, well, he's a narcissist, this guy. Here's the thing. Here's a funny thing. Something I got a letter from his attorney that year. It was June 2020.
When you think vegan, what comes to mind? A plant-based diet full of boring foods? Maybe a bunch of weak, hungry people moping around? Well, none of it is true. I'm Nafsika. I was born and raised Greek in beautiful Montreal, Canada. Join me as I gather professionals from all walks of life to demonstrate and discuss just how a plant-based diet can change your life and our planet. From protecting our wildlife to strengthening physical and mental health, Plant-Based by Nafsika is going to change the entire perspective.